Hey guys, welcome back. Fishing 101, the basics. Today, we're going to talk crankbaits. Now, I think crankbaits are probably one of the most misunderstood lures, or misused, or underutilized lures there is. A lot of people just don't know a lot about crankbaits, so they don't throw them. And if you're not throwing crankbaits, I think you're missing out on a really good opportunity. Let's get to the two. I've got about four here or three that are called square bills. I got some sinkers and a few others. I'm going to explain them real simply and what they do. The two first you usually find in the square bill is what they call a 1.5 and a 2.5. Basically the same design, one's just bigger than the other. The 1.5 is going to go down about 2 to 3 feet. So you're only going to be fishing the top 2 feet, really good for shallow water. The 2.5 is going to get a little deeper, about 4 to 5 feet. Of course, all this is going to vary on what kind of line you're using. Now, another option in the square bill, this is what's known as an S-crank. Mega Bass sells what's known as an S-crank. This is one I painted, so this is a knockoff blank. This is not a true Mega Bass, but it's in the same style as the S-crank. This one, again, will go 4 or 5 feet. This one hunts a lot more side-to-side movement than something like this. And the fourth one I fish a lot that falls in that same category. This would be similar to a Spro's Little John. Again, this is one I paint, so it's a blank, it's a knockoff blank. This one has more of a rounded nose than the square. This will go about 7 or 8 feet deep. But the Spro's Little John style is very similar to these. It's just we're going 2 to 3 feet, we're going 4 to 5 with these, or we're going, say, 6 to 8 with something like this. Now, this one does have a rounded bill instead of square. A lot of people still call it a square bill. The square bill has one advantage over a rounded bill. The square bill tends to hit something and deflect up, where the rounded bill sometimes will hit something and turn, and when it turns, it'll hook. The hooks will hook. So I love a square bill. If I'm fishing with two lures that are just like this, but one's got square and one round, I like the square. This one only comes round. There's no choice. I love this lure. I use this a lot. In this lake, I've caught a lot of walleye while fishing for bass using this lure. This body style has been done really well for me. Now, as how you fish them, I did a video last year how I fish a crankbait or how I fish a square bill. I'll put an end screen at the end of this video. Check that out. That'll show you how you fish these lures. So I'm not going to get into all of that right here. Now, early spring, we also have what's known as a lipless crankbait. This one is going to sink. This does not float as these other ones do. This will sink. It's a really good early spring lure. Gets down there deep. It's got a real tight wobble to it. So the fish really like that early in the spring. All right, let's get into some deep divers here. All right, and I should say before I get into these, you will see this style of lure with a lot longer bill, which would be a deep diver in a big wide body style like this. And those are the lures that are going to get down to 10, 15, 20 feet deep. I don't have any of those with me. To be honest with you, I fish very little of that. Most of my fishing is done, well, that's 6 to 8 feet deep. That's about as deep as I fish usually. But most of the lakes that we have here at the max are 20 foot deep. And most of the lakes we fish here are called sand pits. Sand pits is just a hole in the ground they took the sand out of. Most of that deep water it's worthless. There's nothing down there. Nothing gets down in that 15 to 20 foot deep, or very little gets down there in these sand pits in that deep area. So I really don't need a true big body deep diving lure. Now, a lure that will get you down a little are your minnow style. And basically you're going to have, this is going to be such as a shad wrap or a flicker shad. Again, I painted these so they're in the body style of, but they aren't really truly shad wraps or flicker shads. This would be almost like, I think, a 5 and like a 7 for depth. One might go 5 to 7 feet deep. Here's another. Some of these you're going to get 10, 15 feet deep, or 7 to 10 foot, 10 to 15, something like that. But the minnow style gets you down usually a little deeper. This is the style. A lot of times guys are trolling for walleye, trolling behind a boat using this style. But I'll tell you what, the bass will love these things too. You can catch a lot of bass on these as well as this walleye. Now, one other thing I want to cover, and this should probably be covered in the topwater, and I think I'll do at least one more video in this series covering topwater, and this should probably be there, but I'm going to put it here too, and that is the wake bait. The wake bait has got the bill that's just going straight down. This lure floats and it's going to stay there, and when you bring that back, it's just going to go like this, forming a wake all the way back, hence the name wake bait. I really love topwater fishing. I love using, I never really used these until last fall when I first got into them. Now I really like them. Matter of fact, I even did some of this. This one's got the fin down. This one's got a propeller on the back. And this one, let's see, in probably 2 or 3 days you'll see me paint this one. So I just got this painted the other day, and I'll have the video on that next Sunday. So, but the wake bait is just another example of a crankbait that sits on the surface, one that goes down about 2 to 3 feet, one that goes down about 4 to 5 feet, and one will get you down about 6 to 8 feet, and you get in here and get yourself down maybe 10 or 12 feet deep. There are other things that get you deeper, but like I said, I really don't have a lot of use for those. I don't use those, but if you're not using crankbaits, you're missing out. There are so many fish caught on crankbaits every year. I catch a bunch of them. You watch enough of our videos, you'll see me catching all kinds of fish using these crankbaits right here. I love using crankbaits. I was not a big crankbait fisherman a few years ago. Kind of started getting into it the last couple, and now when I started painting my own, now I'm really getting into it and really looking it over. So guys, go out, get a few crankbaits, give them a try. You won't regret it. Thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel if you would. We'll see you again next week.